The basic principle of education in Natsume kindergarten and nursery school. Play makes children bright. Everyone says that play is one of the important functions of early childhood education. In what way and why is that important? It's not easy to answer. Even so, we still believe it's important. And these are the reasons why we think it's important for child education, based on 3 huge issues in education field. The 3 major problems in education. Number 1, bullying. Number 2, entrance exams. Number 3, career options. These are the major 3 issues surrounding the field of education. How can we deal with these problems in early childhood education? What can we prepare for it? Let's think about it. Lack of imagination. Not be able to imagine the feeling of others. Not be able to imagine logics. Not be able to imagine time. Lack of imagination could be a cause of various kinds of problems. Some children won't stop bullying others because they cannot take into account the feelings of others. Some children hate studying because of inability to imagine logic to lead to the answer. Some children do not keep making an effort because they cannot imagine time, which leads to their future visions. And that's why they cannot become independent. Heart, logic, and time are invisible. How to imagine this abstractiveness will be a key to solve the major problems that I mentioned. It's all about an image. When you draw a picture, you need a canvas and paints. However, these are just the tools to cast your image or ideas into shape. It's all about an image. The purpose of early childhood education is to cultivate ability to imagine something invisible. Heart is much more important than form. Then, how does an image, thought, develop in our lives? Development stages of abstract thinking. Babies cannot recognize objects unless they touch them, which means they think by using their bodies or hands. Once they acquire language, they are able to identify objects without touching. They can recognize objects by naming them. This is the period of thinking concretely through the objects. Abstract thinking through symbols will be developed by these steps. Development always has a sequence, and we can't skip any one of these steps. The ability to imagine the connection in between. Children see a sparrow and crows. They recognize each object, but can't see the connection. To understand the abstract concept of bird, they have to imagine the connection in between a sparrow and crows. To do this, they need to find out similarities, such as both have feathers, call, and are bipedal animals. This ability is brought out by symbolic play. What toys bring out? Children always observe their mothers cooking at home. They also look at the kitchenware very carefully. When they come to school, they try to imitate their mothers with various kinds of toys there. An abundance of toys encourage children to have imagination, and therefore, they are able to advance the symbolic play. We believe this symbolic play will develop children's ability to imagine. That's why kids need to play with toys. Switching the environment of play. Educational effects brought by play and toys have not been fully understood. Before we start thinking about switching the environment of play, we need to understand the development of children. And based on the development stages, we need to create the environment of play and toys. Education is right here. They need to model activities during the period that children identify objects by touching them. Once they acquire language, they start doing symbolic play and constructive play with objects. And then they start playing games with rules. In this stage, they play with imagining a symbol of a rule which is invisible. Play makes children intellectual. Hands have minds. Also, some people say that hands are the second brain. Abstract thinking will be developed based on the plays in early childhood. Do children's hands move? Do they think with their hands? Do they play with concentration? Is the activity advanced? We focus on these points. When children concentrate on play, their brains must work very hard. Play with toys with using their hands a lot will be readiness for possible issues in their future. This is our basic principle of education.